Good morning, Florida lacrosse fans. Monday morning coffee with Florida lacrosse news. I'm Lee Roggenberg. Friday night, boys' first round games are in the books. Some very interesting scores. Some very fun games to watch. I did make the trip up to Lake Mary, 3 hours and 15 minutes one way, 3 hours and 15 minutes back. Got to see a great game in between, very large crowd, and the first time I have seen a concession stand open all season. I wish I'd known that in advance. I might have grabbed a hot dog and a hamburger instead of the quick snack at Winn-Dixie. But just great to see a crowd really got into the game. Much closer results for the boys than on the girls' side. On the girls' side on Thursday night, we only had one close game. Everything else was pretty much an easy win. I don't think that's what the FHSA was hoping for, but they certainly got more of the close games on the boys' side. Before we get to that, let me mention, if you're a PLL fan, tonight on NBC Sports Network, 10:30 p.m., and on the Peacock streaming service, the PLL College Draft is being held tonight. So if you're into that, just tune in that tonight, NBC Sports Network, 10:30 p.m. Okay. Let's get to the boys. Berlin Jesuit with the 8-7 win over Gulliver Prep. Goal of about 3.5 minutes left. I did receive a game recap submitted, so we'll put that up later today. The biggest upset of the night, Bowles 10-8 over Oak Hall. I don't think any of us saw that coming, except maybe for the Bowles kids and the Bowles staff and the Bowles parents. But it was quite a surprise because Oak Hall had won the game fairly recently on the road up there. Bowles reversing it on them, coming down to Oak Hall and getting the victory. Congrats to Coach Mulvey and his team as they move on to play McClay in the regional final. St. Thomas Aquinas shutting out Columbus Catholic. St. Thomas's defense is very tough. Face-offs are incredibly tough for them. And so, can they score enough goals against Jupiter becomes the question. Jupiter with the easy win over to Stoneman Douglas to advance to that. The highest scoring game of the night, as far as the two teams combined, Lake Island Prep pulling out the 17-16 win over Montverde. That must have been a heck of a lot of fun. I believe that Lake Island was up 16-11 after 3. So Montverde putting on a late rush, just falling short in that one. Fleming Island with the 12-7 win over Forest. St. Edwards 11-4 over Holy Trinity Episcopal. Windermere holds off my predicted upset bid by Vero with the 5-2 win. I wonder if someone was playing with me. They had posted 16-0 on Max Preps. Maybe after hearing my prediction, they were having a little fun trying to get me to announce that one. Jesuit with a 14-5 win over St. Stephen's Episcopal. Winter Park cruises past Boone 11-1. Plant with the easy win 19-3 over Steinbrenner. Canterbury 11-6 over the community school. St. Andrews basically replicates their first game against Pinecrest with the 9-4 win. McClay 18-9 over Gulf Breeze. Newsom 18-7 over Riverview. That's a very impressive performance. And the game that I was at, Lake Mary 12-9 over Creekside. I will have that game story up later today. Getting back home pretty late on Friday night, slept in on Saturday, and then noticed that there were about 42 college games to watch online on Saturday and into Sunday, and kind of took my break there and watched a whole bunch of college stuff, including Hobart's 14-10 win over Merrimack. Merrimack with 3 Florida kids, by the way. Nicholas Perez Blanco of Berlin was actually referred to very favorably by the Hobart announcers all game long. And St. Thomas's Grant Lehman had a goal and an assist, but the better team won in the end. One thing I want to mention about that Lake Mary Creekside game also is that if you haven't heard of Caden Harshberger, you might want to put him on your radar. The freshman's put up 3 goals and 3 assists against a pretty good Creekside team. And to do that in a first-round playoff in a high-pressure situation says an awful lot about the type of player he already is and the type of player he might very well become. Kobe White also had a hat trick in that game as a sophomore. Most of Creekside's offense does come back next year, although based on the roster, it looks like the defense is going to take a chunk of a hit. So don't expect Creekside to go away next year after this great year that they had. I talked to both coaches extensively after the game. Both of them had a bit of an issue with players. Jordan Donovan hurt himself early in actually pre-game. Managed to play a couple of minutes for Lake Mary. And then Creekside had a couple of players who unfortunately couldn't play based on what happened during the week also. But, it was a great game either way. Both teams worked hard. Lake Mary just basically was able to do what they wanted to do more than Creekside wanted themselves to do. And that sort of played out. Creekside turned the ball over quite a bit more. And Lake Mary killed off a number of penalties. But in the end, Lake Mary's offensive players came through a little bit more than Creekside's did. So when we look at the brackets going forward on the boys' side, the matchups are going to be Fleming Island traveling to Lake Mary, Plant traveling to Newsom, St. Andrews traveling to Berlin Jesuit. We got Jupiter. Actually, I'm not sure about that Berlin St. Andrews one. I would think that would be hosted at St. Andrews because Berlin is, I think, a D6. No, I'm sorry. Berlin was the road team also. Berlin and St. Andrews were road teams on Friday night, so Berlin should get the home game as the bottom part of the bracket. St. Thomas is hosting Jupiter. That will be the one I'm at. We're hoping to have coverage at St. Andrews also, with St. Andrews also. Windermere will be hosting Winter Park. Canterbury will be hosting Jesuit. Bowles will be hosting the Clay. And St. Edwards will be hosting Lake Highland Prep. So when you look at that, Lake Mary and Fleming are Class 1A. 2A. Newsom Plant is 2A. Berlin St. Andrews is 1A. St. Thomas Jupiter is 2A. Windermere Winter Park is 2A. Canterbury Jesuit 1A. Bowles McClay 1A. St. Edwards Lake Highland 1A. On the girls' side, schedule coming up. Excuse me for a second. Don't put your mouse on your chair arm. It's not a good idea. Okay. On the girls' side, we have Gulf Breeze will be hosting Ponte Vedra. We have Bartram Trail hosting Haggerty. We have Berkeley Prep hosting Community School. Newsom will be hosting Steinbrenner. Winter Park will be hosting Vero. St. Thomas will be hosting Stoneman. Pinecrest will be hosting American Heritage Del Rey. Lake Highland will be traveling to Edgewood. Before we get to the college recap, have those who are familiar with the Swim for Nick campaign, Nicholas Dwart was one of the victims at Stoneman Douglas shooting in the past. They have an annual swimathon. It will be virtual this year. The people will be swimming laps in their own pools locally and then recording them online. If you have a chance to support this, please do so. Nicholas Dwart's girlfriend at the time was the daughter of the Taravella head coach at the time. And so this is an annual event, and it's something that we always put the article up on, which we will do so. Okay, on the college side, Stetson lost both games this week to Liberty 18-9 and Coastal Carolina 13-8. The Gators swept their weekend series with Old Dominion 17-6 on Friday, 17-4 on Sunday. We already put the articles up for that. Jupiter women on Friday, their undefeated season came to an end as they lost to Coastal Carolina 13-12 in overtime. Jenny Kinsey, 5 goals. Sarah Elms and Molly Brock, 3 goals each for the Dolphins. JU men pull out the 8-7 win over Bellarmine. Jack Dolan, 3 goals. They're the 3rd seed in the SoCon Conference. The NAIA level, we had in the Appalachian Athletic Conference on the girls' side, Gulf Breeze graduate Clark Haas won the Freshman of the Year for SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, and also was on the first team all-conference. Congratulations. And Sydney Bowers, the Park Vista alum, also made the first team in that conference. Sunshine State Conference men, Rollins 17-14 over Florida Southern. Ryan Dunn, 5 goals, 3 assists for Rollins. Bailey Pringle, 2 goals, 3 assists for them. And for Florida Southern, Jeff Atlas, 4 goals and assist. And Stoneman Douglas grad Kevin Horowitz went 21-34 at the faceoff. Sunshine State women, we had St. Leo with the 20-9 win over Palm Beach Atlantic. St. Leo led by Ashley Wilczynski, 5 goals and 5 assists. Fiona McLaughlin with 3 goals. Palm Beach Atlantic was led by Anna Lascaris, 3 goals and an assist. And Katie Carlson with 3 goals. NAIA women, number 1 team in the nation, the Kaiser women, they win the Mid-South Conference with the 12-6 win over Georgetown. Ave Maria in that tournament fell 14-9 in the quarterfinals to end their season. I was kind of doing a little thinking after watching the videos that we put up last week. I think one thing that kind of popped up immediately is you're doing a 30-minute video with previews. It's great for the junkies, but probably not the smartest idea either for me or for most of the people who would view. They had very nice viewerships, by the way. One of the things that I kind of noticed that was interesting was a lot of people watched them over the weekend, and I would assume it's to go back and see how well we predicted, which was pretty darn good, to be honest. But probably I think next year I will break it down by region, maybe make 8 7-minute videos instead of 2 30-minute videos. I'm sure that that would be a lot smarter approach. We're working on some graphics, maybe make an introduction, maybe find a way when I learn how to do the editing part a little bit better to insert video clips and things like that, which would mean that we'll probably cut back a little bit on the live broadcast, and maybe I'll do some tapings of the broadcasts instead, which will allow me to edit them before we post them. I know that this is kind of a little rough as far as me just talking to you at home. But, it's live and learn. Obviously, this is the first time we've done this, and I'll learn a little bit better. Also, by taping them, I can kind of chop them up even further so that the 1-minute TikTok viewers will have their little piece. And maybe Instagram's a little easier for me to get that going a little bit more too. But I appreciate all of the viewership. The boys recap is well over 300 views. The girls got close to 300 so far. The coaches' interviews are starting to trend up some too. Usually we just embed them into the recap article. But I think that the more I think about it, the more I think I can use those as standalone videos. Put them back on Twitter too, maybe right after the game, and just embed them in the article anyhow. It's been an experimental thing. We're going to keep learning uh, as we go on. Uh, I want to thank Dave Prater. Last night we had the second installation of the We Stand initiative. For those not familiar, it's coming out of the Nation United Foundation, and basically the idea is to provide a forum where over time we can help make a difference when it comes to eliminating racial barriers to the sport, gender barriers, etc. Just to make it so that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. We just want to make a positive difference. Trash talking occurs in the sport, but there's no point in making it anything but maybe a play oriented type trash talk. It's always kind of been part of the sport, but we certainly want to see sportsmanship grow. We want to see participation continue to grow across all demographics. And so, we had the second session last night. Had a long discussion with Dave afterwards. Also wanted to thank Dave publicly. He put together a quick introduction for the show. We'll continue to work on it a little bit, and hopefully I'll be able to find the way to run that before I do a live broadcast, because I assume that when I'm taping one going forward, it's a relatively easy one to put and to edit and put in place. So bit by bit, it's an iterative process. We're glad for what we have now. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, like the videos. Google pays attention to those things. This is Lee Roggenberg, and hopefully the mouse will work. Let's see if I can move this up and down as oops, I guess it would happen to be a good idea if the battery was in. Okay, we got it up and running. This is Lee Roggenberg saying so long from the Sunshine State.